Chinese college students in Michigan were caught taking photos of a US military base. This wasn't the first time it happened, and it might not be the last. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell, and you are amazing. Within less than a week, you helped us raise more than $32,000 to build our new censorship-free China Uncensored website. I'm seriously in awe of how amazing China Uncensored viewers are. Thanks to your support, we should be ready to launch this amazing new website in just a few weeks. We'll be giving you exclusive episodes, special live streams, and a members-only chat. And as promised, now that we've met our initial fundraising goal, we're ready to do even more for you. The next step will be a mobile app where you can have an even better ad-free platform to watch China Uncensored. We've raised our goal so we can achieve that. And for anyone who contributes $15 or more before October 31st, you'll get your first month's premium subscription for free. And there's other rewards too. So go to givesendgo.com/China Uncensored or click the link below and help us make China Uncensored even better. Now, on with the show, hopefully for years to come. So it seems like alleged Chinese spies are in all sorts of prominent places these days, from a former CIA officer to Linda Sun, the former aide to 2 New York governors, to Alice Guo, the mayor of a small town in the Philippines. But when it comes to Chinese Communist Party spy operations, you don't always have to look in high places. Sometimes you need to look no further than your local university. Earlier this month, 5 Chinese University of Michigan students were charged in a federal counter-surveillance probe. But they weren't charged with espionage or acting as an agent of China or anything that cut and dried. They were charged with covering up a midnight visit to a Michigan military site. According to a complaint filed by the FBI on October 1st, the students were charged with conspiracy, making false statements to investigators, and destroying records during the federal investigation. And their story may have just gotten the award for the spy case that showed the most incompetence by authorities. It all started back in August of 2023. The 5 students were doing their undergraduate studies at the scenic University of Michigan in Ann Arbor as part of a joint program with Shanghai Jiao Tong University, when they decided to take a little trip up to northern Michigan to watch a meteor shower that just happened to be occurring near the National Guard's training facility of Camp Grayling during the Northern Strike exercises of 2023, where Taiwan officials were among those participating. According to court documents filed by the FBI, they were discovered there by a sergeant major with the Utah National Guard after midnight on August 13th, taking pictures near classified equipment and sleeping soldiers, which is simultaneously suspicious and kind of creepy if you think about it. According to the report, one of them told the sergeant major, "We are media," which makes total sense. They're with the media, in the middle of a military installation, in the middle of the night. Yeah, that totally tracks. And that's the end of the story. The students were busted, their goose cooked, they'd been caught red-handed. Except, plot twist, the sergeant major simply asked them to leave, so they collected their belongings and off they went. I guess that We Are Media story was better than I thought. Fast forward to 4 months later. On December 18th, one of the students was questioned by border officers at Detroit Metropolitan Airport before a flight to Shanghai. He told investigators that he and others had taken a trip to northern Michigan to see shooting stars. But a luggage search revealed an external hard drive that contained 2 pictures of military vehicles at Camp Grayling from the night of the meteor shower. Man, don't you hate it when you're trying to take pictures of shooting stars and top secret military information keeps photobombing you? On March 3rd of 2024, the other 4 were detained at Chicago O'Hare Airport after arriving on a flight from Iceland. While acknowledging they'd been in northern Michigan in August 2023, they said they were there to see a meteor shower. And that's where the common thread in their stories ended. After that came some pretty big discrepancies. For example, one of them denied having any interaction with U.S. military, government, or police while in northern Michigan. On the other hand, the others admitted during their questioning in Chicago to taking photos at Camp Grayling and interacting with the soldier, referring to him only as the soldier, a camper, or nice guy. Nice guy indeed. because I shudder to think what the CCP would do if it found a foreign potential spy snooping on a military base. The bar for being nice compared to the CCP is lower than all the graves for the people murdered by the CCP. But the discrepancies in the story didn't stop there. 4 gave conflicting answers on who planned the trip and whether or not they saw military activity at the base. Some of them even claimed that they had been too tired to drive back to Ann Arbor afterwards and said they paid for a motel room at Super 8 at the last minute. Except the FBI learned that the room had been reserved a week in advance. Later, investigators found messages on the Chinese messaging app WeChat that showed the group discussing the trip to Camp Grayling, where they discussed interacting with the sergeant major and deleting photos and messages to avoid agents from thinking we are colluding. So, very suspicious. And yet, once again, the students were released. They went on to graduate from the University of Michigan in May and leave the country. A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Detroit said that while the defendants aren't in custody, should they come in contact with U.S. authorities, they will be arrested and face these charges. So I guess they'll have to go stargazing outside the U.S. from now on. I hear Iceland is nice. Definitely beats Shanghai. This story is weird on so many levels. Most notably, all the times these students were caught, questioned, and then released back into the wild like a fish that's too small. But hey, maybe this truly is all just a big misunderstanding. I mean, it's not like this has happened before. What's that, Shelley? This has happened before, even with students in Michigan. In early 2020, 2 Chinese citizens studying at the University of Michigan were arrested for entering a restricted naval base in Key West to take photos. Someone's really got to tell that school it needs to get better at vetting applicants. At this rate, I feel like they'd accept a student named Spire McSpierson. But other Chinese nationals have also, in one way or another, accessed information or photos of sensitive U.S. military bases or other sites, sometimes posing as tourists, which is arguably a better story than We Are Media. In fact, a report in the Wall Street Journal from 2023 found that over 100 cases of gate crashers at U.S. bases had been identified, sparking fears of a wider espionage campaign by Beijing. And if these spies seem just a little bit amateurish, that makes sense because it's important to remember that many of these so-called spies are just average, everyday Chinese citizens. China's more noticeable methods of spying don't tend to go over so well and can end up embarrassing Beijing. But blackmailing or threatening students or tourists, including with threats to their family members, is a much easier, more terrifying, and sadly, efficient way of getting vital information while potentially slipping away unnoticed. It's easy to get people to lie about shooting stars when they're afraid you're going to go shooting their relatives. The Chinese Communist Party couldn't care less if the spies get caught and punished or served with prison time. And a lot of time, well-meaning students pay the price, including longer wait times to enter the U.S. or get approved into student exchange programs. Balancing national security with foreign exchange programs can be tricky work, but this just goes to show how the CCP is ruining so many lives and so much potential collaboration, and why it's so important to get the word out about the Chinese Communist Party. So remember to share these episodes with your friends and family. And if you can, head over to givesendgo.com/China Uncensored. Any amount is a big help. And before YouTube sends you off to some random video, have you ever wondered if you're an NPC? Check out this latest video from my gaming channel about the Silent Hill 2 remake to find out if you are. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.